Hello, this is James Donnelly. This is Medicare Talk. I am the owner and CEO of Safe Haven Insurance Agency, your Medicare and health insurance safe place. I'm sitting here today with Mike Savalli. He is an acupuncturist. Now, originally, this podcast, we started doing it because we wanted to get information out about Medicare, and just educate our listeners. Because Medicare is so confusing, and we do that, but it's kind of morphed into something else. We've been bringing guests on, and really our guests are brought on because they're information for you, our listeners. So I have Mike on today because he's an acupuncturist, and I sit with seniors every single day, and there's a lot of health issues. There's a lot of medication lists. I mean, some of them are scrolls. There's 20, 25 medications that seniors are taking. And even though we're living longer because of modern medicine, are we living a quality life? Are we living a quality life? And the answer is, honestly, I think most people aren't. I think most people are just getting by and maintaining their existence with medication. And that's not a quality of life. So I wanted to bring Mike on because he's an acupuncturist. And I've done it all. I've done acupuncture, chiropractic care. I mean, I try to be as active as I possibly can, although I don't always hit my activity goals or my health goals. But I've definitely tried everything. And I've been doing since I met you, I've been doing a lot of research on acupuncture. So one, Mike, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, James, for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. I really wanted to get the message out about acupuncture and alternative types of medicine and healing and things of that nature. So tell us a little bit about acupuncture.
Sure.
Okay.
So you really hit the nail on the head with part of what you were saying about the number of medications we end up having to take as we get older. And the great thing about acupuncture is it treats a lot of conditions without adding another medication to the mix. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to worry about how it's going to interact with the medications you're taking. You don't have to worry about side effects, anything like that. But what it can do is still help you with a lot of those symptoms in a holistic, natural way.
Okay. So, I mean, I know when I review my dad's Medicare plan, he's on, let's say, like 16 medications, right? And I say to him, Dad, if you just got up and ate a little healthier, and went for a walk,
a little activity,
a bike ride,
yep,
something, half of those medications would probably go away.
Yeah.
If not a third, a half, what if it was one or two,
right, I
would feel a little bit better. Yeah. So really, as we're aging, we need to stay active. We need to stay healthier. Now, I know Medicare, since that's what I do, Medicare health insurance, a lot of health insurance, a lot of Medicare plans are picking up acupuncture now.
Yes.
So which is an eye opener because, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, chiropractic care, I mean, they used to think chiropractors were witch doctors, and now acupuncture.
Yes.
So really, it's really changed. And I even saw, I was talking to somebody about Reiki the other day, and some health insurance companies and health plans are picking up Reiki. So this is really just going to say, like, it's all about mind, body, soul.
Yes.
And the health insurance companies are seeing it because, trust me, they would not be paying for something that wasn't advantageous to your health because they want you healthy. And whether it's acupuncture, chiropractic care, or Reiki, I mean, these are all things that the insurance companies are picking up because it's advantageous for you to be healthy, and they want you to do as much as possible to be healthy. So let's talk about that. So what is acupuncture? Because a lot of people don't know what this is. A worldwide podcast. And what is acupuncture? Let's talk about that.
So acupuncture is a traditional medical therapy that goes back millennia. Evidence shows that it originated in China. And what they noticed was that by stimulating certain parts of the body would have certain effects on how the body functions. Mm-hmm. Over time, it's evolved into what it is today, which is actually very advanced because now the needles that we use, they're stainless steel, sterile, hair thin. We use them once, we discard them. The guide tube that we use to insert the needle into certain points makes everything pain-free and very easy to do.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Okay. What is acupuncture? Okay. So acupuncture, by doing this, we're stimulating certain points on the body with the needles, or there's even non-insertion acupuncture where we just do acupressure, or with a certain tool, just put a little pressure on the spot.
Why some people don't like the needles?
Some people don't like the needles, but also like with kids,
Okay.
like 12 and under, we don't like to use needles.
Okay.
They move around a lot. They have lots of energy,
Okay.
but they also respond really well to the non-insertion because they're young and their energy is just flowing. Like they're not going to have those same kind of problems that older adults have.
Just a quick question. We're talking about needles. We're talking about kids.
Yes.
Seniors.
Yes.
On like a blood thinner.
Sure.
Are you able to? That was where I was going with when you said
non-insertion.
Non-insertion.
Yes.
So. Would a senior on a blood thinner be able to have acupuncture?
Yes.
Insertion or non-insertion?
With insertion.
Really? Okay.
The reason is because the needles are so thin, like I said. They're about as thin as a human hair.
Okay.
What happens usually with an acupuncture treatment, you pick about 10 to 12 points that you're going to needle. You put the needles in. The person then just relaxes for about a half hour to an hour. You take the needles out. When you take the needles out, there might be a drop of blood. So we have a cotton swab and we wipe it. And then if that's not enough, we go again. But it's never going to be more than 2 or 3 drops of blood because the hole is so small that it heals very quickly.
Okay. So you just talked about certain insertion points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't just pick willy-nilly. Like you don't just say, we're going to do over here today, over there today. There's a method to your madness. And you have training, right? So it's not like you just graduated high school and were like, I'm going to be an acupuncturist. Like I bought some needles, I went to China, like that's my thing. So let's talk about what it takes to be an acupuncturist. You know what acupuncture is? Let's talk about what kind of training do you have to be an acupuncturist? Because I don't want people to think like, you're a witch doctor either.
Of course,
okay.
No. So it's regulated by state. So I'll talk about in New York.
Okay.
In New York, you need, X amount of hours of training. What it all translates to is a master's degree.
Okay.
So when you go to school for acupuncture, you end up with a bachelor's of professional studies in health science. Mm-hmm. That covers like Western science of like anatomy and neurology and all these other things. And then you take graduate classes in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And all of that is learning about what points to use. How do you know where and when on the body to stimulate certain points?
For instance, like if you wanted to treat indigestion or ulcers or something like that, where would what would your point be?
Okay, so putting it this way, there's a network of points all over the body. Mm-hmm. There's about 360 that we need to know for the board exams. We have to pass a licensing exam also.
So you stay licensed as well. So you have your master's degree and then you stay licensed.
Right, and that's regulated by the state, by the Board of Education. It's an art form in knowing how to combine certain points and when to, because I could be talking to you about, you mentioned for indigestion.
Mm-hmm. That was just something we talked about earlier. So
yes. So I'm going to ask you some questions to figure out what's causing your indigestion. What's the pattern? Because you could have 3 different people with indigestion, but for 3 different reasons.
Okay.
So using the acupuncture framework, I would ask you certain questions. I would check your pulse. I'm looking for qualities of the pulse. And I would look at your tongue, because the tongue is like a map of what's going on internally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It tells us a lot. Once I have that information, then I would say, okay, I think we should do this point, this point, this point. Now, the next step beyond that is people would ask, well, okay, are you going to put needles like in my stomach, or, where are you going to put the needles? So that's where the different styles of acupuncture come in.
Okay.
There are certainly points. So most acupuncture we see out here in New York is what's called single room acupuncture. Mm-hmm. It's much like when you go for a massage. You get a private room, you disrobe, and then I might put needles anywhere on your body. I might put them on your back. I might put them on your stomach, arms, legs, all of that. There are other practices of acupuncture. One that I'm trying to develop out here, which has been successful other places, is called community acupuncture. So imagine a room just like this, but with comfortable chairs, maybe recliners, so you can lean back, and you don't have to disrobe, because I can treat anything that you need to work on for acupuncture by just working on the arms and legs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we don't have to go to the area. And sometimes you don't want to go to the area, because let's say you have really bad neck pain. If I put needles there, it's going to kind of aggravate it more in a way. So we work with what's called distal points. Distal meaning farther away from the area.
Okay.
So,
and it's equally as effective?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we talk about the meridians. They travel in channels along the body, mm-hmm. and that connects the body as a whole. So there's channels that go up like this on the arm. If you're having pain on the shoulder, I can treat points on the hand. And because of the way the brain interprets that, it maps things, and it'll help with the shoulder. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's great. So what are some of the things you're treating your clients for, your patients for?
Sure. I'd say 80% is for pain, chronic or acute pain. With older adults, I see a lot of, chronic things, knee replacement, but it's 20 years old, and it starts to wear off.
They say a knee replacement only lasts about 20 years,
About 20 years. Yeah. I see a lot of people
shoulders too.
Like
I was really surprised. Someone said they had a shoulder reconstruction. It was only good for 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, as you get older, they're less inclined to operate again. So what can you do for the pain? You can take meds, or you could try something like acupuncture.
Which is an entirely new issue that we've come across, not only nationally, but globally with the opioid addiction.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I'm really surprised that they're still prescribing opioids as much as they are, even though it's really scaled back since the whole epidemic. But they really are. There's so many people that I sit with that are on painkillers.
Yeah.
They live on painkillers.
I know.
Now, I know we're talking about pain, and I just know my mother broke her ankle, had to have surgery on her ankle, had a knee replacement, was in a bad car accident. She lives in chronic pain.
Yeah.
And the only thing that truly helps her is acupuncture. She's religious. She goes to the acupuncturist 2 or 3 times a day.
A week.
A week.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a little obscene. 2 or 3 times a day. Although you wouldn't mind,
I
right?
wouldn't mind.
But yeah, she 2 to 3 times a week, and she swears by it.
Yeah.
And I know, I went for acupuncture. I was having an issue sleeping, and I went, and it definitely helped.
Yeah.
But I noticed that to stop smoking, sleep issues, digestion issues, pain, circulation. I mean, the list is really limitless.
It is. If you look on
Headaches,
the World Health Organization website, they list all the things that it's officially.
World Health Organization. So this is acupuncture is legit if it's on the World Health Organization website, and they list all the positive effects and all the things you could treat with acupuncture. So that's reassuring.
Yes.
Because a lot of our listeners are like, oh my God, this guy's a witch doctor. Oh, this has got to be a New York thing or a California thing or a Florida thing. Only people with money do acupuncture. Now, is that an accurate statement? Just because, we know health insurance companies are now footing some of the bill. Now, do you take health insurance? How does that work for you? So someone wanted to come see Mike Savalli. Right.
Okay. There was a lot of things in there I wanted to unpack, but to answer the short answer about the insurance. Okay, so yes, insurance is starting to cover for it because they see that it's not only a great and affordable therapy. That was the other thing. Do only rich people get acupuncture? Absolutely not. In our country, it's a little bit. Like I said, that spa treatment that I don't know the right word for it, but
elective, like an elective kind of thing?
Almost like a luxury.
Luxury, okay.
Yeah. But not its tradition at all. It's a tradition of the people, the working class people. If you look how it's used in China, they have big clinics with lots of people. So it's not
luxurious?
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting stuck because there's so much.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. So
We're not live. Don't worry.
okay. So most acupuncture places charge a premium for acupuncture. They do this because they can bill the insurance for it. Right?
Okay.
When they can bill insurance. But what happens is that drives the price up for everybody. So I'll just tell you a personal story. The practice I was at before I started my own practice this last year was your typical acupuncture practice. We charged a pretty high rate per treatment. Some people had really good insurance. Teachers, we find, have really good insurance for acupuncture. We can charge the insurance company a couple $100 for a treatment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But we have to keep the cash price close to that, because otherwise we're charging the insurance companies say, well, why are you charging us this, but you're charging them only
Well,
X
you and I
amount.
both know why.
Right. Because you want to get it because it takes time to bill through insurance.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of paperwork.
And then they don't pay you what you bill
And
them
then
anyway.
they don't pay you. They'll say, no, we'll pay you this much.
Yeah.
And then you're lucky if you get
So
it.
it's funny because I a couple of years ago, I didn't have insurance and had to go see an endocrinologist. So when I had insurance, I was looking at the explanation of benefits, and I was like, oh,
Yes.
wow, they billed the insurance company $395,
Right.
but they only got $90 or whatever the case may be,
Exactly.
$90. But if
Yes.
you billed $90, you would only get $20, and it doesn't make any sense, the whole
Right.
thing. But when I went to the endocrinologist, he just charged me $100.
Right.
So I was like, oh, wow,
Yes.
this is, but I know why you do that. Most people know why that happens.
Yeah.
So back to your story.
Sure. So that's the state of the industry,
Okay.
right? A few years back, some people came up with the idea of the community acupuncture model. So that's one low cash price for everybody. Some places even do it on a sliding scale. They'll say, pay us between $30 or $50, whatever you can afford on that day. And some people sometimes offer that really good treatment. I'm going to give a little more. And it's a little tight this week. I'm going to pay just $30. But the goal of it is lowering the barrier, making it more accessible.
Okay.
So that's what motivated me to make the community acupuncture practice that I have, because I want to help the people that don't have the really good coverage on the insurance. People on Medicare, like you said, Medicare covers acupuncture. That's true,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very specific. It's
Okay.
very limited. It has to be for chronic low back pain with no known cause. So it can't be due to pregnancy. It can't be due to a car accident. It has to be chronic low back pain. They don't know why it got there.
Okay.
It has to be done in a medical doctor's office by a licensed acupuncturist. So they cover it, but you have to find a doctor's office that has an acupuncturist on staff or a doctor with an acupuncture license in there.
Okay. So they make it pretty difficult.
They make it difficult.
Okay.
And in my research, I can only find one place so far on Long Island that meets those requirements.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if ever someone came to me on Medicare, I'd say, give it a shot. It's worth it, because they'll cover it. I think it's like they cover like 12 treatments or something like that.
Okay.
But
So how do you avoid all of the complications and
of
bureaucracy
insurance and all that stuff? Yeah. You don't have to do insurance,
Okay.
That's one way of billing. We keep one low cash price for everybody.
Mhm.
It's about what you would pay for a copay if you were going through insurance. And that's about it. We try to just keep it very simple.
So you don't even accept insurance. You don't even accept Medicare. It's
No.
self-pay.
Yeah,
And more or less for anywhere between $30 and $50, they have a treatment.
exactly.
Oh wow, that's awesome that you do
Yeah.
that and you keep it fair anyway, because that would be what the copay would be anyway, generally, right?
Exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
that's great. So, to our listeners, like any tips about being healthy? Is there a good maintenance regime that they should do? Should they, talk?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. You hit the nail on the head again with some of the things you said earlier. So, first thing, best thing you can do for your health, if you're a smoker, quit smoking.
Okay.
That's number one, right? Next one is, I'm going to, just because it'll go hand in hand, I'm going to say move more. Light activity. You don't have to start off running a 5K, 10K. You just go for a walk for a few minutes. Start at 5 minutes a day. You eat baby steps. You know, it doesn't have to
That's
be.
what I told my father. I said, walk to the stop sign,
Exactly.
then walk back.
And
Do that for a week, and then walk to the next block, and then walk back. I said that to my father.
You want to make it as easy as you can for yourself.
Yeah.
To
But you have
more.
to build up. Like, people don't, get out of bed and say, "Oh, I'm going to run a marathon today." They don't. They start with baby steps. I know when I started running, I would run for 30 seconds, walk for a minute, run for 30 seconds, walk for a minute. And when you've never run before, 30 seconds is especially older. Now I could run 3, 4, 5 miles, but it started off walking, jogging.
And now they have apps that do it for you. You just put the app in, you just do what it says.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff out there. But it's got to start with the motivation to take care of your health, because your health is the foundation of everything else in your life.
Agree.
You got to take care of yourself there. And then the third thing I would say would be definitely diet. Have a good diet, And again, it doesn't have to be rabbit food. There's lots of great diets out there.
Whole organic food.
Whole organic. Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
You could have rice, you could have pasta, you could have fruits, vegetables, you could have beans.
Oils.
Yeah, you could really cook amazing with it's just nothing processed.
And if it has a label and you can't pronounce or don't know what it is.
That's it. It's done. So really, let's be real.
Yeah.
A couple of years back, the Cheerios had Roundup on it because they were spraying in between the rows of grain, right? Grain, wheat, whatever, for weed control.
Right.
And somehow the plant actually, the wheat actually now contains, this Roundup. And I just remember my kids sitting there as babies eating the Cheerios,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And then how many products do we look at? Example, I'm in a store the other day, a year and a half ago.
Okay.
I grabbed the yogurt
and
one of those Nature Valley granola bars.
Yeah.
Nature Valley. It's Nature's Valley. Like, how good is this? So I looked at the label. I'm like, oh, it's really not that bad. But then I noticed it was like folded over on the back of it. So I opened it up and it said, this product is genetically modified.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap. Like, it's not Nature's Valley. It's not. It's genetically modified. And these are just all chemicals and things that we're just ingesting. I mean, it's really sad. So
and we don't and won't know for years what the effect is.
So single ingredient, which is whole food. That's what a whole food is, a single ingredient.
Yeah.
And then organic. Because I saw something the other day about the pesticides on the fruits and vegetables. I was pretty...
Beef, red meat, you want to limit once a week, twice a week, and grass-fed is always best.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely grass-fed. Yeah, without any question. And, there's so much information on Netflix, on YouTube, online, just about eating right. And it's pretty simple because for years, I didn't start eating whole until I try to be organic. Sometimes it's very difficult, but
if you're out,
if you're out, but I started going whole, non-processed about 4 years ago, and I feel the difference, because all that crap, that's what clogs all your arteries and creates all that plaque is all the chemicals. It's not, and I read a book, Grain Brain by Dr. Perlmutter. Did you ever read that?
No.
Amazing book.
Yeah.
It's just about, how cholesterol feeds your brain, and your brain lives off of cholesterol.
Right.
And what happens is they limit people with statins to bring their cholesterol down.
Yes.
And that's why people on statins have the highest cases of dementia and Alzheimer's. And it's actually studies. It's in a journal of medicine.
Sure.
But I was really blown away by that. I was like, holy, they want us to lower our cholesterol. And his theory or facts or whatever the case may be is that it's the gluten, it's all the chemicals that create plaque, which starve our brain from the cholesterol feeding our brain. So it's called Grain Brain. He also wrote a book.
Without cholesterol, you would die. You need cholesterol.
And that's why years ago, if you think about it, everyone used to eat eggs every day, and then it was eggs were bad for you. Eggs are bad, but now eggs are good for you again. So it's a little scary.
And there's always the aspect of moderation too, right? We're so abundant in our modern era with food. You could go to your grocery store and buy any fruit, any food, no matter what season it is. You can buy the food. You can get meat for so cheap, whereas before you didn't have access to meat that much. So we're seeing now the diseases and the pathologies of abundance. More people are getting gout. That used to be like only rich people got gout, like it's royalty.
Mm-hmm.
But these other
gout is from a high acid diet. Is that what it is, or it's just an overflow of acid in your body? Is that what?
Uric
My dad
acid,
has the gout. And they say cherry supplements, cherry juice, all help with the gout. I know a friend, an older friend of mine has the gout.
Yeah.
He had it really bad, and he didn't take any of the alpunerol or anything like that.
Yes.
He just went on a cherry supplement and really, and he still honestly eats and drinks whatever he wants.
So now beyond the food for nourishment, now we could talk about food also as medicine.
Okay.
And there's natural alternatives to a lot of treatments. I always like to say to my clients, start with the least invasive remedies first. And if those don't help your condition, then you can progress up the ladder. Okay. So don't start with the surgery or the meds. Start with, can I change my diet? Can I do a little more exercise? Start there, see if that helps. Start with, get your pain treatments from chiropractors, acupuncture, because they're very non-invasive. And you can concentrate certain foods to target there's a great book, it's called Ancient Remedies by Dr. Axe, I think his name is.
Okay.
And every time I get a new client, you're having trouble with cholesterol. I'll photocopy the page on cholesterol. These are the foods you should eat. These are the foods you should avoid. Here are some natural supplements you could add. Another great thing it has is like essential oil recommendations. People really like essential oils these days.
Yeah.
And I just give them that to them, and I say, do this, and see if it helps. And then you can always go up from there if it doesn't. But start, be gentle with your body.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I had a hip issue for about 2 weeks just from running.
Yes.
And I went to the chiropractor the other day, and I was like, wow. I'm like, this is really great. And it's actually my fault because I don't really stretch as much as I should.
Sure.
So he showed me some stretches.
Did he do like the blocks like under the hips?
I didn't.
No, traction?
I didn't. I did the traction.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the traction, and then he kind of gave me an adjustment. And I remembered I had this issue about 6 years ago. But I wasn't running at the time, so it was interesting. But I remember the chiropractor actually got me where I needed to be the last time.
Yeah, chiros are great. I go every month. Yeah.
But so really, the moral of this is you just have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, we're living longer.
Yeah.
You have to really let's live a quality life. Let's try to eat right. Let's so as far as a maintenance regime, or what do you recommend?
Sure.
Because listen, it does help. It actually helps maintain a quality of life. And people don't realize it until they try it. And there are some skeptics that will never ever be receptive to acupuncture.
Sure.
Like for instance, we went for Reiki, my wife and I.
Yeah.
The first time, like I was like, oh crap! I'm like, this I felt like a new person, And my wife was like, I was almost there, but I wasn't right there. Then we went back a year later. My wife was like, oh my God. Totally got it. It totally hit me. And, so you have to keep an open mind. That's the whole thing. You have to keep an open mind. So they've never been to an acupuncturist before. Sure. What do you recommend?
So the first time we come in, we'll come up with a treatment plan. Mm-hmm. If you're coming in for a specific reason, a symptom you want to work on, depending on how severe it is, how long you've had it, we're going to see you once or twice a week for the first couple of weeks. Okay. Then we gauge our progress there, and ideally you're feeling better, and we'll start to taper off. Acupuncture is also great prevention. So someone just coming in, I feel pretty good. I just want to, stay on top of things. Once every 2 weeks, once a month is good for maintenance.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I always say to them, look, if you feel like you need another treatment, give me a call. I like to leave it. I'll educate the client, but I like to leave it more in their hands to figure out how often they think they need a treatment.
Okay, that's really great. And how do our listeners find you?
You go to my website, communityzenacupuncture.com. You could also call me at the office. We're in Colmac, New York, by the way. 934-221-7111. Website has the phone number. It has my email address. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. My name is Michael Savalli, Savalli. And I think that should be enough to be able to find me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And again, if you like our content, you like what we're putting out, I know we have a great number of subscribers, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. But definitely like, subscribe, and share this video and this channel. I appreciate that. That makes a huge difference. We just want to be a resource for our community, really,
Yeah.
for our aging community, and guys like Mike. That's what he does. He really is trying to help you live a healthier life. And I appreciate what you do. I really do. And I'm going to check it out because it's been years since I've gone for acupuncture. And I definitely have a little shoulder tweaking, a little IT issue, and just honestly overall health.
Yeah.
Because I know we're living longer and I just want to live a quality life. And, so keep moving.
Yep.
Eat healthy.
Yep.
What else? What else could you share with our listeners to?
Enjoy each other, love, be happy.
So community, right?
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
a part of something,
Yep.
right?
There you go.
Mike, thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate it. Thank you. Please reach out to Mike. And if you want to reach out to me, James Donnelly, Safe Haven Insurance, your Medicare and health insurance safe place. Thank you.